This is my review on Never After series written by Emily McIntire. These are dark romance books, so be sure to check trigger warnings before you dive in. Each book is a standalone, so it's not necessary to read them in any order, and each book is inspired by fairy tales, and if you like dark romance books, I can't recommend this series enough. First off, we've got Hooked. It's inspired by Peter Pan, a darker version of it. It's an undercover crime novel, and it was honestly enough to get me sucked in. Hooked is a book that follows Wendy, who goes a night out with her friends to a bar, and there she finds James, and they get into a relationship. Wendy, even though she discovers later about James being hooked and how dangerous he actually is, but still finds it hard in herself to keep herself away from him. And then we have James, whose plan is to get revenge on Peter Michaels, Wendy's father. The minute he sees Wendy walking into his bar, he sees his way in. Use the goal to get his revenge on Peter. Though as he starts off with revenge on his mind, slowly but steadily he starts to fall in love with Wendy. This book is mesmerizing, the plot is incredible, the characters were well built, and the writing style was just captivating. The genre of this book are romance, contemporary romance, erotic literature, fiction, etc. I gave this book about 4 stars because all in all, this book was amazing, yet it wasn't dark enough for me, but the plot, characters, and the novel itself was worthy of my time. Second off, we've got Scarred. Scarred is the second book to the Never After series by Emily McIntire. Since each book is inspired by a fairy tale, this one is inspired by The Lion King. Scarred is a book about Sarah Beatrix and Tristan Fossa, also known as the Scarred Prince. Sarah is a strong, independent woman, and Tristan is a loyal and strong person who keeps his promises regardless of the consequences. Sarah was betrothed to the newly crowned king Michael, Tristan's brother, but Sarah and Tristan ends up falling head over heels for each other. This book, the royalty vibe, the betrayal, and everything was just hypnotic. The 2 main characters came alive, the description were enchanting. This book belongs to the genre of romance, contemporary romance, erotic literature, fiction, etc. I gave this book about 4 stars because it was a really great read. The writing, the plot, the characters were incredible, and it's worth the read and the time you put into it. Next up, we've got Wretched. Wretched follows Nick and Evie. Nick, an undercover cop whose job is to take down a drug cartel. And Evie, the badass female lead who belongs to the mafia family Nick is supposed to put behind bars. The forbidden romance grows, and even though they knew that there couldn't possibly be a happily ever after for them, and how the author gives them one was truly enchanting. Emily's writing style is magnificent. Her plots were all consuming, making the readers to want to finish the book in one sitting. She knows how to make the characters come alive, and she gives the reader a first-hand experience on the novel. The rating for Wretched would be 4 stars. I devoured this book. It was fast-paced and kept me on the edge of my toes, and frankly speaking, this book deserved the time I put into reading. Next up, we have Twisted. Twisted is about Yasmin and Julian. Yasmin is the daughter of a wealthy man who falls ill. His dying wish: see her get married to the man he chooses. But what he didn't know was that his daughter was already in love with a servant, and Yasmin knows her father wouldn't approve of it. So she makes a marriage deal with Julian, so she'll have a freedom. What she didn't know was that Julian, a power-hungry man, planned on marrying her and then killing her so he can inherit the fortune for himself. But slowly they start to fall in love. It's a slow burn romance, and they end up as lovesick people. This book was truly enchanting. The plot, the characters, even the secondary characters were amazing. Like Yasmin's best friend and Isabella, Julian's 23-foot python. I gave this book about 3 stars because the book wasn't dark enough for me, so I thoroughly enjoyed this book. Lastly, we've got Crust. Crust follows Father Cade Frederick, who's priest in the morning, and a person who helps people get rid of their demon by unaliving them at night. Simply, he's a killer by night. Though he was a devoted and holy man, once he comes across Amaya, who's a pole dancer in the name of Esmeralda, he feels his temptation slowly heat him up from the inside. The way temptation and desire clashes and the way the both characters slowly yet surely falls for each other is enchanting. This book is fast-paced, with fantastic detailed description that immerse you in the story, with well-written characters who comes to life, with an incredible plot that keeps you on the edge of your seat. I gave this book about 4 stars. The only thing missing in this book was that it just wasn't dark enough, and apart from it, the whole book was exceptional and engaging. I really don't know which one I prefer the most, Scarred or Crossed. They both are just great, and I honestly am clueless on this. But one thing I do know is that I loved devouring this series, and I can't recommend them enough. These books had me totally glued from the start to finish. If you're into dark romance, you've got to check them out. Seriously, they're like a roller coaster ride for your heart.